We're on with Facebook. Hello Facebook, Tomi Lahren here again, and most of you know me as the angry girl from Facebook, so what better way to have someone accompany me than the guy that does the daily rant. So I'm here with Graham Allen. You might know him on Facebook, YouTube, the daily rants guy, Snapchat as well.
Correct.
So Graham was kind enough to journey all the way to Texas to do some rants with me. He's going to be on the show later as well. But we've got something in common in that we're not necessarily politically correct, and we like to express ourselves and express our opinions. But before we get into that, we also are a fan of charitable causes, and people in our communities are very important to us. So I love your Ninja Turtle shirt, but there's something beyond that. Could you tell our Facebook audience before we get into this why we've got a Ninja shirt on today?
Yeah. Basically, I live in South Carolina, and so last week we had a terrible tragedy in South Carolina. We had a school shooting in Townville at a elementary school. And some of you may be familiar with that, some of you may not. And anyway, young Jacob Hall, 6 years old, unfortunately did not make it through that incident. And so today is actually his funeral, and my entire town and community pulled together and in support of his funeral, and everyone's wearing their superhero shirts for his funeral. So today I am showing my support for his family and all of the above in the entire community to wear my superhero shirt today.
So that's community togetherness at its best, in my opinion. People coming together and helping each other. Something that you and I both come together in, and we discussed that. Dallas, we also went through a horrible tragedy back in July. We lost 5 of our police officers.
I got to tour that just yesterday, the area.
Right, so it's something to me that you never expected to happen in your hometown. I know as well, we saw in Charlotte, not too far from you, the things that have been occurring there, the rioting, the protesting. Those on Facebook know me, they know that I'm a vocal opponent of the Black Lives Matter movement. Another thing that, besides being an opponent of Black Lives Matter movement, I'm also a proponent of law enforcement in the United States military. That's something I know is also very close to your heart. But we know in this country that there's been an ongoing conversation, and it's almost been demonized to be pro-law enforcement or pro-military in some communities. And not only has it been demonized vocally, but it has been on social media as well, something that you've experienced. Now, we know that conservatives online, we have to play by a separate set of rules, whether it be the IRS targeting us, or Twitter targeting us, or Facebook managing to monitor our posts and make sure that conservative news outlets or conservative ideas are pushed to the bottom of the totem pole. But beyond that, you've experienced that on the level of Facebook.
Oh, all the time. Just what you said. I think a huge issue that's going on right now is you've said it yourself before, if you don't blend into basically the victim narrative of things, it's almost like you were the one that's being attacked, and you were the one that's, in a sense, doing something wrong. And so to go off what you said, I've had my own experiences dealing with Instagram on my social media pages. It's perplexing to me that this day and age you can have things go viral, as it were, in the social media world that are negative in their own aspects, against the grain, against the order of things, burning the flags, stomping the flags, all these things. A couple years ago we had the knockout game, all this stuff that goes viral, and nobody says anything. If anything, people watch it all the way through, they share it over and over and over and over and over again, because everybody's so enthralled with the look at this. Look at this. Everybody needs to look at what's going on here. But in this day, if you post something the complete opposite end of the spectrum, which is, you know what, I realize that America may not have everything right all the time. I realize that all police may not be doing the job as they're supposed to be doing it. But I am for America, and I am for what we stand for and what we're trying to do on a daily basis. If you post something in that regard, all of a sudden you're the enemy, in a sense.
Right.
Who are you to post this and say that that we're wrong, which is kind of a contradiction to what they're saying to us in the first place.
Well, in what way is patriotism explicit? I don't understand that whatsoever, but you've been blocked, you've had your stuff reported for images as simple as you with an American flag and a firearm. I mean, you throw the firearm in there and boy, you've got all the liberals upset. But to be a Second Amendment loving patriot in this country has become something that's reportable, but I've seen it on social media myself. I mean, I don't know how many memes that there are of me. Search hashtag Tomi Lahren on Instagram and you'll find a lot. lot of them.
Right.
I do it as a party joke.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Never seen it.
So, and then, they do diss songs about me. They stomp on my face. I mean, horrible, disgusting things. And sometimes I report it, sometimes I don't, but they're still there. But then you do patriotic posts like that, and then all of a sudden you're the victim of censorship on Instagram.
Right, exactly. And for me, the particular post that happened to me, conversations happen, and even though I was blocked out of my accounts for those things, I could still see what people were saying. And some of the overwhelming things were, well, that'll teach you for posting that kind of stuff. Or I think it was the gun more so than it was anything else. Well, last time I checked, we have the Second Amendment. We have the right to bear arms. We can post pictures.
But I have a particular problem with that, because I've seen several pages of the people that follow me and troll me, and then I go and look at their pages, and thug culture has been glorified. So their guns are okay if it's a Glock and they're holding it in a manner that to me does not look like the most pristine or classy manner in which to hold a Glock.
Exactly.
That is okay,
yes.
Because rap culture and thug culture and gangster culture, that kind of gun culture is acceptable. But your gun culture, being someone that has also served in the military, somehow that Second Amendment right isn't glorified in the same way.
Exactly. They almost view it as we are trying to shove something down their throat that they don't like. They don't like guns. They don't want to see it. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. And it's because it was in the direction of a pro-military, pro-Second Amendment type post. At the end of the day, that's all it amounts to. And to get reported enough times on a social media platform to get blocked means that there were that many people that had an issue with that kind of post, that felt the need to go in, click, hit report, fill it out, tell them why it upsets you, etc. But again, like we said, you have all the other videos that go the opposite end of directions that people just spread like wildfire. And so unfortunately, that's the day and age that we live in right this second. And what we are constantly fighting against as pro-America, and if you want to call it Trump supporters or whatever it may be.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Trump supporters.
Okay.
So I'm a Trump supporter, and that's not something that you can often say at the Blaze and be in good company, because most people here are not Trump supporters. Right. I am a proud Trump supporter. I know you didn't have a chance to watch the VP debate last night, but for anyone out there that had any concerns about Donald Trump, I hope you watched the VP debate last night and saw Governor Pence absolutely smash Hillary's cane into the ground, and I call it Hillary's cane because it's Tim Kaine. She also uses a cane because she can't stand up. But I watched that and I thought, I think this country is going to be okay. And any concerns that anyone had about Donald Trump, I think that Governor Pence really put our minds at ease. But beyond that, talking about the debates, talking about being a Trump supporter, I did a social experiment not too long ago. I was in San Diego, a military town, a rather conservative town. And I wore my Make America Great Again cap up and down the boardwalk there from Mission Beach to Pacific Beach. And people looked at me with my Make America Great Again cap on as if I were wearing a KKK hood. It's amazing, the reactions. All my cap said was, Make America Great Again. I realize it has a connection to Donald Trump, but where are we at in this country where supporting one candidate over the other, and especially supporting Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton, someone that actually has blood on her hands, someone that's a proven liar, how did it become deplorable to be a Trump supporter?
Again, I think it all goes down to just the overall just belief that we currently have. And what I mean by that is, if you don't believe the same thing I believe, then you're wrong and I don't like you. I don't appreciate what you're doing. I don't like you. We can't be friends. We can't get along. Which America in and of itself, the whole reason that we came to be the way we are is we understand that we're different. Some of us have different religions. We have different beliefs, but we all come together and as one people and coexist, right? That's not here anymore, unfortunately, in the vast majority of people. And so you've got your Trump supporters on one side, you got your Hillary Clintons on the other side, and for you to be on either side and not agree with the other one, you're the enemy now, or a deplorable, as you would call it.
Yeah, but Hillary supporters, to me, someone that's a Hillary supporter, it's not the fact that Hillary Clinton is a liar, a proven liar, Benghazi, her email scandal, the Clinton Foundation, all those things. That's not really the problem. The problem is her supporters don't care. They don't care about all those things. They don't care about the lies. But yet, on the same token, they're really upset that Donald Trump called someone fat 20 years ago. And that to them is so insulting. But what Hillary Clinton has done and said, she called tens of millions of Americans deplorable, and then the rest of them she called desperate. Then she called called Bernie supporters basically basement-dwelling losers.
Right.
But she gets a pass on that? She gets to faint and get a pass on it?
It goes with the whole thing of people want to pull certain things out of the past. They want to pull certain things here. And it kind of goes along the same thing of this certain passage right here. You know, people in religious cultures do the same thing. Some people pick and choose what they want to listen to and what they want to see and what they want to do. And same things with your Trump and your Clinton supporters. Well, Trump said this. Can you really have a president that would say this about women 20 years ago? Or in a...
What Hillary's done to women. I mean,
right.
it's amazing to me.
Exactly.
Actions speak louder than words. I'm going to do final thoughts on this later, but I think it's very interesting. I want to ask you, though, someone that served in the military. When we talk about a commander-in-chief, one of Tim Kaine's lines last night is that his son is currently serving in the United States Marine Corps, which, you know, thank his son for his service and his sacrifice all day long. But he said that he would be terrified to have Donald Trump as commander-in-chief. Now, someone that served in the military, I want to know what you think about Donald Trump as commander-in-chief, and then I also want to know what you think about Hillary Clinton as commander-in-chief and what that would mean for our strength and our role in the United States and abroad.
Well, let me start off by saying that I don't speak for all veterans. I can't. There's no way to do that. I can only speak for myself. And what I can tell you is, unfortunately, in the veteran community as well, we don't agree. You know, that there's just as much division within the veteran community as there is in the civilian side.
Are there a lot of Hillary supporters in the veteran community, though? I mean, be honest. I'm sure that there are some scattered, but by and large, because I have a lot of friends that are in the military, and I have not heard a one of them tell me that they're a Hillary supporter. I've heard some Gary Johnsons floating around, but I have not heard one Hillary supporter in my group of friends, and my group of military friends is quite large. I think you
just hit the nail on the head right there at the end. In your group of friends and your people that you associate with on a regular basis.
Yeah, but they're military.
Right,
in
exactly.
my military group of friends.
My military group of friends that I conversate with, that I hang out with on a daily basis, yeah, I would agree with you very much so. But on the other end, I can say the same thing. When on my social media platforms, when I announced that me and you were going to do this show, or you were going to allow me to come on your show, it was met with probably, I'd say, 70-30. 70%, everybody thought that it was amazing. They think your show's awesome. And then the other 30% being veterans and currently serving, previous serving or civilian side, were infuriated at the fact that I would, come on to this type of thing because of the platform and because of your views and things like that, which is ridiculous in and of itself. But it shows the division there.
But you're going to have to explain that to me, because there's a lot of people that resent me in this country. Most of them are Black Lives Matter advocates, some radical Muslims. I understand that. Democrats, liberals, feminists. I understand that animosity towards myself because I'm very outspoken on those issues. But I've always been an advocate for military and military issues and veteran issues, and I've been really someone that's been on the forefront of defending that.
Right.
So when you say that
you've
had comments from the veteran or military community that were upset that you were coming on my show or speaking on my platform, that's very interesting to me, because that's one I have yet to hear.
Right. Well, I think a lot of it at the time when we first started talking about the show and I first started announcing it, it was right in the, well, you could say the heat of it, like it's gone anywhere, but right along the Kaepernick video.
Let's talk about
and
that.
things like that.
Let's talk
So
about that.
There's a huge division in that. I agree with you 100%. Does Colin Kaepernick have the right to sit down during the national anthem or take a knee or whatever it is he wants to do? Of course he has the right. Should he do it? No, I don't believe that he should. But here's the biggest argument that I've gotten into with other veterans alike. And I'm sure that everyone watching this feed right now is probably not going to agree with me, but this is just the biggest argument that I get back from other veterans is, you need to take your uniform off if you don't understand what you signed on to do by wearing that uniform. And I would say, well, explain what you mean by that. We fight for exactly what he did. That's why we fight. So he has the right to do exactly what he did. And if you have a problem with it, then you're wrong and you don't deserve to wear the uniform in the first place. Which my response to that is, no, I fought so everyone has the right to speak their own opinions and believe what they want to believe. So I fought for myself and my family to have just as much right to say we don't agree with that as I did for Colin Kaepernick and my other fellow veterans that did far more than me did for him to be able to not stand for the national anthem. And so that's a huge inner battle that goes on between the military ranks that a lot of people don't know about as well, is we are just divided on some topics as everyone else is.
Yeah, and I want to address that, because for all the veterans out there and people that fought, I agree with him wholeheartedly, the whole Veterans for Kaepernick thing, but here's the deal about that. I never once said, nor have I ever mentioned, nor have I ever even hinted at the fact that Colin Kaepernick did not have the right to do what he did.
Exactly.
So for people to go up and say, I fought for that, I fought for his right, you're not taking my argument and you're not confronting my argument head on. You're confronting the part of the argument that you agree with. So they are fighting for his right to do it. To me, that there's still something in this country called American patriotism and respect. And so when I see someone that says that black people are oppressed in this country, and that's why they're not going to stand for the national anthem, and they further move this rhetoric and this conversation to be one-sided, and they say, oh, well, the biggest problem, with black oppression is white police officers, or we're being oppressed in this country, or because look at police brutality in this country. But then they're ignoring the fact that police brutality and incidents where African Americans are shot by police is statistically almost not even a factor when we're talking about fatalities African Americans.
Right.
They don't want to talk about that.
Right.
They don't want to talk about the fact that those are isolated incidents and it's not rampant in this country. They don't want to talk about that because when I ask them, when he said his piece about black people being oppressed, and I've posed the question, how are black people oppressed in this country? And that's the only thing that they can say to me is, well, police shootings of African Americans. That's the only thing they can bring to my attention. And then when I tell them that a police officer is 18.5 times more likely to be shot by an African American than an African American is likely to be shot by a police officer, then they don't have anything to say.
Right.
So I don't understand how you can ignore that entire half of the conversation, kneel for the anthem, and then call yourself some kind of a social justice warrior.
Right. Well, I kind of agree with you, and just as far as Kaepernick goes, and this is just a purely myself, my belief, my this, my that, and I've seen what you've said, I've seen what other celebrities have said, and honestly, there's a certain few that have said certain things that I think just label it completely down what exactly it is that Kaepernick stands for and what it is that he did and why he did it. Shaquille O'Neal came out and said something along the lines of that he didn't agree with the way that Colin Kaepernick did it, because when Colin Kaepernick was starting quarterback and when they were playing for the Super Bowl, so there was no black oppression then. There was no shootings of black men or women by police officers then. Where were you with the issue then? No. Coincidentally, it comes when you're on the bench and you are very slowly going into meaninglessness in the sense of you're not a star athlete, you're not this, you're not on the top of the social media platform anymore. What are you going to do, Colin Kaepernick? I'm not going to stand for the national anthem on live television.
So now I can get attention.
So now I can get attention. I don't quote me on this because I'm not sure, but I want to say it was Rob Lowe that tweeted something that I thought was very powerful, actually. He said something that if you have a problem with the anthem, show respect and don't come out of the locker room. Don't take away from the moment that is happening right now so you can get attention.
Exactly. And we're going to have to end it on that, but I agree, and it's his right. It's a conversation that needs to be had, but it's a conversation that needs to be had on many levels, and it can't be one-sided in any way. And I've always said, anyone that I disagree with, Colin Kaepernick is more than welcome to come and discuss it with me if he would like to. But it's funny, I haven't gotten a call back from his people because that's a conversation that he would rather kneel for and then not have a discussion with someone like me that might differ from him in any way.
Exactly.
But this narrative of rampant racism in this country has to be an open conversation. White people should be able to talk about it as well. So when you tell me that because I'm white I can't talk about it, well, all you're going to do is piss me off and I'm going to talk about it more.
Exactly.
But Graham, thanks for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
See you on the show later.
All right.
Goodbye, Facebook. We'll see you in Final Thoughts in 4 or 5 hours. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.